back in the 80s when interest rates were around 8-10%. My parents once gave me a small amount of money as a CD, and every year I got a little bit of it.
Kind of like when you get a savings
bond. And it kind of helped me recognize early on about the importance of money saved today turns into a lot more tomorrow. We're talking 10% interest, which I know you don't find CDs returning that anymore. But the stock market averages that over the long haul. For every dollar you save today can turn into 2 in 7 years down the road, 4, 14 years down the road. And so you know that over time, being diligent on that front kind of gets you pretty far. So I kind of had a little bit of that background understanding. Time, you're making a pretty big sacrifice in that you're giving up your income for 1 year, 2 years, depending on the program. You're paying a lot in tuition, and coming out, the idea is you come out and you probably can get a job that pays enough extra. So I wanted to quantify it, so I put together a little spreadsheet, and I had just been working locally, wonderful company, Giant Eagle, just at their corporate headquarters, just doing some analytics work for them. And I love the environment, I love the people, I really like them, but I knew probably long term it would make a bit more sense to add a couple extra credentials for me. And so when I was looking at making that decision, I cracked open Microsoft Excel, and I put down, okay, here's how much I could be giving up in income if I go away full-time to a better program, or if I stay locally and I go part-time just to CMU, or not just to CMU, it's a great MBA program, but go locally and maybe put myself under a little bit more stress because I'd be going to school, I'd be working full-time. But so I put together the spreadsheet, and when I put it together to figure out, okay, do I go back full-time or part-time, one of the things that I did was I looked at, okay, here's how much money I'll have saved after 2 years, after 4 years, after 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. And as I kind of filled those formulas down, all of a sudden I noticed the number was getting really big. If I continued to spend like I had been spending, because when you come out of college and you get your first job, you usually don't blow it all, and you're used to hanging out with friends, and you know that what makes you happy isn't necessarily spending a lot of money, it's having a cool network of friends to spend time with and doing interesting things on the side. And so when I just kind of I noticed when I kept my spending low, I didn't ramp it up, and I started saving the remainder and putting it in the market and getting a market return. I noticed the number probably around the time I was around 35, 36, 37, 38 was starting to get pretty darn large. And when I looked at it and I noticed how big it was getting, I started realizing, wait, that's probably enough to retire on. Why don't I give that a shot? So I ended up doing the MBA part-time, and just kind of had the plan. And so by having the plan, all of a sudden it became this feasible light way off in the distance. But it definitely required a little bit of discipline, and I don't want to kind of spoil your remaining questions, but that's where the idea initially came. And I think also when I started looking at job opportunities as I was finishing up the MBA, staying with my company, going elsewhere, taking on a higher stress, higher upside job, or taking on more of an interesting corporate marketing job, all of a sudden it kind of helped me make those decisions because I had this plan that I knew if I stuck to, I knew if I kind of kept on working hard, I knew if I went after a little bit more income, could get me there a little bit earlier or later. So it just took getting something down on paper.
Gotcha. Have you always been someone who was kind of creating plans for all facets of your life, be it your health, your physical wellness, your finances just in general? And also, how consistent were you able to execute the plans as opposed to just creating a plan and then it kind of going haywire?
So I think when I first came out of college, I'm probably not that much more disciplined than the average person. It was just one of those, in fact, I'd say I probably was a little less structured than a lot of people. Was just focused on my job, was focused on doing something interesting, focused on hanging out with friends. I didn't have this sort of gung-ho, I want to get 100 things accomplished in one day mentality at first. But I think as I put together that initial spreadsheet and tweaked it and improved it over time, and I think when I did the MBA, I may have updated it to, instead of track things by year, maybe track things by month, and then I added a little bit more functionality to the spreadsheet with, here's a spending budget, and I saw how well that worked. I think that kind of changed my mindset into becoming a little bit more disciplined, a little bit better at planning. And I think more than anything, when you start experiencing a little bit of stress in your job, if you have that plan to kind of get to that light at the end of the tunnel and you can see it, and you see that, yeah, initially in the first year I said I was going to save this much, I did. I was going to get this much return, I did. And the outcome was this, and that number keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you see that it works. That just reinforces you to kind of stay on top of plans. And then the other thing is right after I finished my MBA, I switched careers. And as you mentioned, worked as a consultant, initially for a smaller firm that was bought by Price Waterhouse. But when I worked for them, a lot of the work that I did was project management. And in those sorts of positions, your plan is your life. I was planning large mergers and planning kind of how to put companies together. And in those situations, you really live and die by your project plan. So there, that really got me into the mentality of listing out the hundreds of steps, figuring out which ones were missing, and then tracking to it, tracking progress, tracking financials, tracking financial plans, and all those sort of things that I kind of initially did for my own life, translated into good planning skills for my work life. And then from there, I think that made me a little bit more of a plan-oriented guy. But it's not a hard process. Retiring, figuring out how much to save, saving it, and then investing it right really isn't that tricky. It's not something that requires you to do much as long as you make it automatic.
Gotcha. I want to break down those three parts you just mentioned, ramping up income, saving in a disciplined, consistent way, and then also having the right investment strategy. So to start with, so we kind of addressed ramping up your income. You got the MBA, increased, you got more credentials, increased your kind of perceived value to potential employers.
Yep.
Beyond that, your savings is kind of directly correlated to your ability to kind of stave off lifestyle inflation. So
Absolutely.
the common trope is someone gets a raise, someone gets a bonus, someone gets a promotion, and
Someone gets a BMW.
and yeah, they get a new car, they start eating out more, they associate that with more luxuries, and you were able to kind of hold off on that. How were you able to do that?
So there are two key elements. One is you force the savings. So if you don't see it, and it goes straight from your paycheck into your brokerage account, into your 401k, into your IRA, into all of your automated savings mechanisms, then you don't think about it. And so for me, I was very careful every year whenever I got my bonus, whenever I got my salary increase, I set up an automatic transfer from my bank account, and it was easy as logging in once a year to do this and just changing the amount that I transferred. I did a budget each year just to figure, okay, roughly I could probably spend this much. I wasn't super strict, but at the same time, I realized early on that you don't need to spend a lot of money to be happy. It's not as if, and there's a lot of great research out there on happiness and income showing that if you spend your money on things, it's not material possessions, it's not that nice new watch, it's not the expensive car that makes you happy, it's experiences. So I was careful with my spending, but I did every once in a while splurge on, so when the Steelers made it to the Super Bowl, in 2000, I guess it was 2008, 2009 in Tampa, I flew down for that game, went to the game, loved it. But that was my big splurge for the year, but otherwise I was still living a couple steps above a college student, but nowhere near where my colleagues were living. Yeah. And so by forcing the savings, that made it pretty easy. And making sure that I was saving right it really wasn't that tricky. But at the same time, I wasn't. I was in a job that paid pretty well. I probably was living on a little bit more than what I was living on as a student, just because I had my own place. I think the other thing that made savings easy, though, was I took on a job after my MBA that was kind of a 70, 80-hour-a-week job. And I think for those of you who come out of MBA programs, there are a couple different careers that people look at, but out of a lot of top-tier programs, the big kind of dollar sign careers that people put out there and go for are usually management consulting and investment banking. And they're careers where the upside can be massive, but also the attrition rate's pretty massive. So the average lifespan at a consulting firm is about 2 years. The average lifespan within investment banking is about 2 to 3 years as well, as they do a lot of trimming. And not to say people don't move on to good careers after that, but it is a very, very time-consuming job if you want to do it right. And so if you need to put in 70, 80-hour weeks at your job, and you're on the road and you're traveling and all of your weekly expenses are covered via budget, All of a sudden you get home for the weekend and you don't have a lot of time to spend money. And for me, the priority was always spending time with friends, so it wasn't an issue of, and a lot of my friends were fascinating folks. They were graduate students, young professionals, artists. I had my weekly poker game with a lot of them. It was all low stakes. And so all of a sudden there wasn't a lot of pressure for my social group to spend money, and my career really didn't let me spend much money just because it had me so busy.
Absolutely. The big three takeaways that I'm taking from that are, number one, if you're staying busy, there's less time to spend money. Number two, your social circle and who you associate with. If you're associating with people who have to spend a lot of money to have a good time, that's going to be a drain on your bank account no matter how you swing it if you're spending time with them. And then the other thing that was really interesting is just kind of also allowing yourself to not have like a cheat day, but you did still have your big expenses, but it wasn't consistent and across the board. It's kind of like if you're on a diet, but you have a cheat day.
Yeah.
It's okay. You had a cheat day, and then you get back to living a disciplined life, and you still reap the benefits, but you don't quite have the same craving that you might have otherwise.
Absolutely. And I had kind of my travel budget. I had here's the few toys and indulgences I can take, but they were small enough that they weren't breaking the bank and they weren't becoming everyday things.
Gotcha. So as far as MBA programs in general, you mentioned that potentially going elsewhere for your MBA or staying local or just in general, was the benefit of getting the MBA really worth it? In your interpretation, just the experience of going through an MBA and the associated income improvement, who would you recommend that for? And then are there folks that you would say, maybe think twice about really pursuing that if they're going to get into one of those professions where you burn out in 2 years?
Yeah. So although the thing is, even if you burn out after 2 years of management consulting or 2 years, even if you burn out after 2 years, even after you burn out in 2 years of management consulting or investment banking, there's still pretty good careers you can have afterwards. It's not as if you're kind of out of the workforce. But when you think about getting your MBA, there's a lot of important things. For me, it was a credential, it was education that was very relevant to my job, and it was also, it was intellectually stimulating. I got a lot out of it that way. But given what you have to pay for those sort of programs versus non-professional masters, where you can often be sponsored by the university, you are making a big financial investment. I think back when I did it in 2001 to 2003, my tuition for the program was about $60,000. I'm sure given inflation, it's probably doubled. And anytime you're spending that amount of money on yourself, there has to be an economic return. There's no way not to. So almost every program publishes statistics about here's what the average person coming out of the program makes. They publish, and from that you can figure out, okay, I'm making this much, I can probably make this much more. For me, it was about 50% or 60% more from the time I went into the program to the time I got out and got my next job. And the upside of that job was pretty massive, which also kind of figures into the equation because I was able to last in it for 9 years. But you just have to do that math if you're making a $100,000 investment in any education, be it looking at private undergraduate versus public undergraduate or what a scholarship is worth. And you just have to kind of crack open the spreadsheet, figure out, okay, here's the delta, or here's the difference in income, here's the difference in tuition, here's the lost opportunity cost from going away to school for 2 years, and is the return worth it given the intellectual stimulation benefits, given the long-term career benefits, given the social network, given all the things that come out of those programs. And so I think every situation is unique. Every program, almost every program in their marketing literature lists that information. So you can see, okay, what's the average income of someone coming out of it? And also don't forget that some of those jobs that are paying at the upper end of the income will be coming with crazy work weeks. So you can't forget and think about it as, okay, I'll be working just as hard as I worked before the MBA. Afterwards, you might have to work twice as hard to make twice as much money, but that's an opportunity you can only get via that. I mean, I had a lot of friends for whom their income ramp up was so fast after undergraduate, especially folks coming out with technical degrees or engineering degrees, computer science degrees, that there would be no return for them. And then there were others that probably couldn't get into a better program, would have to go to a lower tier program. And the income difference for those might not have been enough to justify it. Even though it's a good education, it's a great, there are a lot of great programs out there. It is a massive investment, and you have to look at it on just a return basis.
Absolutely. It's definitely wise to enter anything like that with eyes wide open as far as the exact burden that you're getting into. One of the biggest things with undergraduate degrees, not condemning college by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of freshmen, sophomores don't really even know how much debt they're going to be in when they graduate, how much their yearly tuition's costing. Hopefully with a grad degree, you're a little more mature, have been through the process, you can wrap your mind around exactly what that commitment entails. The next part that we need to break apart is the actual investment strategy. So you've referenced standard rate of return for the market over long periods of time, but just to maybe simplify it a little bit for listeners who aren't as savvy or tend to be a little younger than the current millennial generation, what was your primary focus with your investments? Were you taking on a lot of risk? Were you in individual stocks? How did that work?
And I think anyone who's looked at the market over the last week, and we're recording this late September of 2015, so folks can go look at this. The market dropped about 15% over the last month or so. So it's not as if the market doesn't have any risk. And the whole idea behind investment, or at least kind of the modern view of investment, is that there are investments that have virtually no risk, that have a low return, like U.S. Treasuries or savings accounts, where you might get your 1 or 2%. And then there are investments like the stock market that have a much higher return. And average, I think the S&P 500 does about 10.5% a year, which is just a broad index for the total stock market. Smaller companies might return about 11%, but they come with even more risk. Somewhere in the middle are bonds that companies issue. And without going through kind of a full business primer, basically bonds are less risky than stocks because companies have to pay them off first with any money they make, as opposed to, or pay off interest on bonds as opposed to the rest going to shareholders. So you kind of have this broad spectrum of investments, and with higher return investments comes higher risk, but the more time you have to kind of outrun that risk. So I don't know if listeners are super familiar with kind of the mathematical notion of standard deviation, but it's a measure of variance. So if you have two opportunities, two investments, one that always returns 2% a year, and one that returns an average of 10%, but some years it's 20, some years it's 0, some years it's 30, some years it's minus 10, and that's roughly kind of what you'd see out of the stock market. If you have enough time on your hands, then you can invest in something more aggressive like the stock market, because hopefully over time you will have gotten enough of a time horizon to outlast those negative swings like the 15% swing we saw now, or in the middle of when I was planning for retirement in 2007, we saw about a 40% market drop that came back over the next 3-4 years as well. And so as long as you have that sort of long horizon, you're okay. So for me, given that retirement was 14, 15 years off to start, my investments were primarily in index funds, and there's whole internet blogs you can read about the value of index investing versus picking stocks versus, and I'm not going to go into too much of that today, but a lot of the research has shown that in the long run you do better with index funds unless you really know what you're doing, just because the management fees associated with either transactions or stocks isn't enough to kind of offset the cost, offset the extra return. But so for me, primarily early on, almost everything that I saved went into small cap index funds. And those got me an average of about 11, 12% a year, which meant that in the course of about 10 years, whatever I put in there increased by about 150, 160%. Now, I had some years where things were up a ton. I had some years where things were down a ton. But because the horizon was long enough off, that wasn't a problem. Now that I'm retired, my portfolio is a little bit more concentrated on some real estate investments. And don't forget, investing for retirement, you don't just have to go with the stock market or go with bonds or go with treasuries. You can buy income-generating properties. They take time, but those can turn a reasonable return as well. Some people like to create small businesses or franchises that they can run on the side. If it's an area that they understand and they know how it works, and they know how to invest it, know how to run it, and have experience in it. There are all sorts of ways to kind of make money or generate income, be it passive income, active income. But for me, now that I'm retired and I don't need more than about 3% of what I've saved to live off of, I've gotten a little bit more conservative in how I'm investing, and it's more total market, less small cap, and a little bit of real estate on the side.
Gotcha. Two big takeaways there, if that kind of flew over your head. Be very aware of the fees that you're paying if you're investing, and if you're taking a long-term outlook to your investments, which many of you should be, then if the market goes up and down one year, or there's some swings, it shouldn't really affect you too much because you're staying the course and you have a long-term perspective.
Yep. And there's even some studies that kind of show a smart investment return is to put roughly your age percent in bonds and the rest in stocks. Is kind of the one of the big rule of thumbs. But I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm not an expert there. I took and passed my CFA level 1 exam a long time ago, but that's more of a side credential that just means I understand how some of that stuff works a little better than average, but you can do fine with index funds. And definitely over time you want to get a little bit more conservative with your investing, just so when the market drops by 15%, your portfolio only drops by 5 or 10.
Absolutely. If you want more resources on that, you can check episode 24 of the Going Deep with Aaron podcast. We had a chartered financial analyst on the show, so he's more than happy to drop some knowledge there. We're actually going to have another wealth management advisor on towards the end of October. But to now kind of jump into the fun part.
Yep.
You're retired.
Yep.
We talked about where your investments are right now, but how are you spending your time now that you're not committed to 70 to 80 hours of work per week?
That's a great question. So I just biked here from the Pirate game. They were up, I think, 6-2 when I left. Hopefully they will have beat the Cardinals. We'll be on the way of beating them again tonight. So I've lived in Pittsburgh, I guess, since '95 when I started my undergrad at CMU. And even though I sold my house here a year ago, moved down to Florida, got a place on the beach, there was a foreclosure, renovated it, have a lot of friends down over the winter, I still spend a lot of time up in Pittsburgh. In fact, I had Pirate season tickets, and I've renewed them throughout the last couple of years, even though I sold my house here 2 years ago. So I'm traveling up here probably a good 10 times over the summer, going to Pirate games, just seeing friends. That's kind of my one big summer activity. For the winter, given I'm on the beach in Florida, got a place in Clearwater, I have down probably about 10 to 15 guests every winter, mostly friends, former colleagues, ones who are going through mid-career crises, or just friends who want to hang out because it's a nice spot and it's much warmer there than it is up north. And so I'll host them for kind of a week at a time. We'll hang out. That works pretty well. Do a lot of scuba diving. I just got back from a dive trip out to Grand Cayman and Cozumel, Mexico a week and a half ago. It's another fun hobby. And I think the other big way that I spend a lot of my time is fitness. So when I retired about 2.5 years ago, given the 70, 80-hour-a-week job, given all of the travel that went with it, it was a job that had me getting on planes every Monday morning, living on an expense account, and then getting home every Sunday night, every Friday night around midnight. I think my weight suffered a little bit, and so I ended up putting on about 100 pounds throughout the course of my career. And so by doing that, all of a sudden, I kind of found myself in pretty bad shape. And even though I was working out every once in a while, the toll was getting pretty bad. So when it came time to retire, although I initially kind of took it as a 6-month leave of absence because my firm didn't want to see me go, I eventually pulled the trigger, retired, and made fitness a huge, huge, huge priority. So every month I run about 150, 160 miles. I'll bike about 500 miles. I'll swim about 10 miles. I'll lift good 10 times. And so I'm in the gym. I'm on my bike. I'm out on the trails. Pittsburgh has some beautiful ones here with both Shenley Park, Frick Park. I'll be out there, and it's definitely one of my better time sinks where I've kind of able to undo a lot of that damage and take off the 100 or so pounds that accumulated throughout my working career.
Gotcha. I want to commend you for that. That's quite an accomplishment to lose all that weight and very inspirational. Do you feel like you referenced the damage that was done over those years of work? how close do you feel like you've gotten to recovering from that damage? Do you feel like you'll ever completely eliminate it? Do you ever feel any maybe regret or resentment over the damage that was done?
Um, I, I think so being overweight in and of itself isn't explicitly damaging. It's all the coronary and other problems that kind of come with it. And so I have no idea. I haven't scoped out my arteries to know that I've accumulated this much plaque, and by doing this much exercise, it's gotten better, or that's increased my health risk for these issues, or these cancers, or these other risk factors in this way. So I really don't have any idea, kind of long term, if there's something explicitly wrong with me, or that kind of I gave my body a little bit more wear than I should have. But I think given the time frame that it was only about a third of my life that I was that much overweight to date, I suspect, given that I'm now at a more than healthy weight, I'm doing well and making it on the podium in triathlons and road races and those sorts of things, I suspect I'm probably in good shape. I've never been that good of an athlete, even when I was in shape, so I'm pretty happy from a kind of outcome standpoint with how things have been going lately. But I really have no idea if there's what the impact was to, say, lifespan or long-term things. But obviously, I mean, you know, people who quit smoking, it only takes a couple years to kind of get most of the benefit, but there's still some long-term lung cancer risk. Um, as far as I can tell, I'm pretty much back to normal. And it wasn't as if being that heavily. I maxed out at about 260 pounds. I'm about 160 now. And when you're 260 pounds, there are some limitations. I mean, especially if you're getting on a plane every week, because you're kind of crunching yourself into that tiny seat next to other people, and probably that wasn't a good thing for the people sitting in the middle of the seat next to me, because I could at least get a window with status on airlines. But it definitely is much better to be in shape and mobile. And I never had any mobility problems. I always worked out, even when I was weighing that much. I always lifted. But it's definitely much better to be kind of at a healthier weight from a long-term health risk standpoint.
So we got to start wrapping up here. I want to be respectful of your time. Make sure you can see the next Pirate game here. But before we issue the personal challenge to the audience and tell everyone how to connect with you, if I'm someone sitting there listening, saying, "Damn, it'd be pretty sweet to retire in my late 30s," and I want to just start trying to acquire some of the knowledge that you've clearly displayed, that you've attained over these years. Maybe I don't know if I can go get an MBA. I don't know if I can do these other things, but I want to get a little bit smarter on investing. I want to get a little bit smarter on saving. Are there any specific books or resources that come to mind?
Sure. There's a really good online discussion board, bogleheads.org, that is filled with a lot of kind of folks who advocate for mutual funds. And on those sort of sites, you can learn a lot about basics of investing in terms of how index funds work, how mutual funds work, what the difference is between exchange-traded funds, how to take the most advantage of your retirement-friendly accounts like IRAs, 401ks, all sorts of good online resources for those on those sort of sites, how to create the three-fund portfolio. Those are pretty good kind of fundamentals for the investing side. In terms of how to save and how to accumulate a lot, there's a lot of good apps out there. Mint is a great one for tracking budgets. Although for me, really, savings I never did that much active tracking of my budgets. I just forced the savings into a brokerage account. So I had my online brokerage account, opened it up with just one of the big online houses, and just forced every week a certain amount of my paycheck as soon as I got it to come out and go into that account. And then in every quarter or so, I just bought an index fund, or every couple weeks or every few months, I just bought an index fund that I liked, or occasionally bought a stock I liked. So there wasn't that much kind of education on that front, or it wasn't that hard to do the savings. And then from an income standpoint, it's not that you definitely have to put in an effort early. And I think for me, given the retirement light at the end of the tunnel, putting in the extra effort into my career early wasn't that hard to do, because I knew I was making progress. I knew the number was getting bigger. I knew I was getting closer to that date. So when all of a sudden an opportunity came up to try to sell some extra work, or an opportunity came up to try to do something extra to help my career, it was worth making that sacrifice because I knew I wanted to get the next 10% promotion or the next raise or the next income increase.
Great. If people want to connect with you, maybe ask you questions about anything you talked about today, is there a way to do that?
Twitter, it's just and Alan Charnas. So it's my AlanCharness, and that's my Twitter handle. You can reach out to me that way. I'm on there every once in a while. Follow me. Mostly just pictures at pirate games now.
Gotcha.
But that'll probably shift to Lightning games as soon as winter starts, and then random beach trip pictures. But so I'm somewhat active there, and I have my model, the Excel model that I've shared with most of my colleagues, that I've just emailed out to folks that I'm sure I could probably forward on. That does some more advanced simulation, takes into account taxes, looks at some of the what happens to your 401k balance versus your IRA balance, or versus your just early retirement balance, and there's all sorts of kind of little math behind it, but it's not too tricky.
Gotcha. All that will be linked to as well on my website, goingdeepwithaaron.com/podcast. And to wrap things up, I'm going to give Alan the mic one last time to issue a personal challenge to the audience.
Okay, so a little earlier I talked about how if you save money now, $1 now, and throw it in the stock market, on average in about 7 years it'll be worth twice as much. Or in 14 years it'll be worth 4 times as much. So if you think about kind of the $1 you're about to, or the $3 you're about to spend at Starbucks, don't just think about it as $3 you're about to spend on a coffee today, but think about it as potentially $6 you can spend in 7 years, or $12 in 14 years, or in 20 years it could even be $28. And so there's kind of this expression, penny wise, pound foolish, but being penny wise isn't that bad of a thing. And I talked about earlier, you can get there if you force the savings, but also you should look at what you're spending today and think about those dollars you're about to spend on a vacation today, and think about, okay, is it going to be twice as good as a vacation I can have in 7 years? Or is it going to be 4 times as good as a vacation I can have in 14 years? And yeah, at some point you'll be dead and can't spend it. But not spending a lot of the small dollars can really add up to something significant. As they say, $5 a week turns into $250 a year. Or $5 a day can turn into $1,500 a year. So it's those little habits, those little spends that kind of get you, or that if you can kind of put them aside and postpone them, they're the ones that'll get you to retirement earlier. So my challenge for folks out there is to figure out how much money you're spending today that you actually don't need to spend today. And so the challenge is for the next 7 days. You can do this via an app like Mint, or you can just write it down in a journal. You should write down what you're spending your money on. Just log it. Just takes a second after you pull out your wallet. Maybe keep a little sheet of paper in there, a mini little golf pencil or something, and just write down everything you're spending your money on, and see, of that money that you're spending, how much of it is discretionary that you don't need to spend today, that you could turn into twice as much in 7 years, or 4 times as much in 14 years in the stock market, or just by paying off 10% debt, or by paying off credit cards, or whatever. And I mean, if you have a high balance credit card, then I mean, 20% interest, that doubles in probably 4.5 years. So every dollar you don't spend today could be twice as much in 4 or 5 years. And just write it down, and then see at the end how much money you'd have, and then see how much money that could turn into in 7 years, and 14 years, and 21 years, and from there figure out a budget, and from there you can figure out, okay, how much you want to automatically save, and put your plan in place.
Gotcha. And a really important thing I just want to reiterate is if you set up the savings at the beginning of the month, when the paycheck comes in, the money's already heading out, then you really eliminate a headache as far as feeling guilty about a purchase also. If you know you're saving enough for whatever financial goal that you've set up, I just want to reiterate, you really take a lot of the stress set up the savings at the beginning of the month, splurged on that Frappuccino or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Alan, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I also want to thank Epicast for hosting us today.
For whatever financial goal
we just went deep with Alan
really
Charnas and learned a lot about how to retire early.
Thank you, Aaron.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Cool. We're up.
That was great. You ever?
Probably a little more long-winded.
No, it was great. It was fantastic. Trust me. Have you ever read the Mr. Money Mustache blog?
Yeah. He's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's he's very extreme, but I left work early.
This is like my office. Yeah, I know. it.
He didn't plan on it last night, and I was like, ah.
He's off work until the 15th, and he said he's just gonna stay at home basically until the 15th.
I don't blame him. I would too. Is Knowledge coming in?
His visit to the United States last week.
I think he said he was on his way down.
At townhall.com.
You should stop in.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 1250.
Please don't do that.
Good afternoon. I'm Rick Hoschel. A lockdown at the Butler County Government Building is over. It was prompted by a violent incident this morning. TribLive.com reports an aide to the county commissioner says at around 9:45 a.m. there was an announcement advising staff to lock the office doors. The lockdown lasted about 30 minutes after authorities say a man punched a woman in the face. The Pittsburgh area, part of a new
See, Twitter does not live down here.
alliance.
The goal of the new Regional Transportation Alliance of Southwestern Pennsylvania is to find transportation solutions based on community feedback. The 10-county initiative kicked off this morning. TribLive.com reports the alliance will solicit feedback from more than 700 organizations in the region regarding their transportation needs. I'm Doug Parrish.
Pittsburgh Mayor Bill Peduto is in Italy for meetings on innovation, sustainability, and resiliency. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reports Peduto's office says the cost of the trip is covered by event organizers and the mayor personally, and that no city tax dollars are being spent. A public high school student in Pittsburgh is
Not too
facing
much.
charges after police say he
We
was
can talk
busted
about
with
that.
stamp bags
The major
of suspected
faux pas
heroin.
against men.
WPXI-TV reports
Always
police say the
strange, much
18-year-old senior was arrested Monday
And
after
aftershave.
He's suspected of selling the heroin.
Second off, firstly, how dare you call me a
survey
jerk.
ranks 515 cities of varying sizes across the country. Factors used to compile the rankings include growth of the working age population, job growth, median income
I
growth,
think we
and
should talk about
decreases in
that.
the unemployment and poverty rates.
Men.
Baseball, the Pirates and Cardinals playing a doubleheader today after last night's game was a washout. The Bucks taking the first game 8-2.
Oh, we can talk about
Vick
it.
and the Steelers making
That's
their
a
final
big-
push for tomorrow
that's a
night's
big one.
showdown with the rival Ravens at Heinz Field. I'm Rick Hoschel.
That's just
Stay
a
tuned.
huge-
More Michael Medved coming up on AM 1250. The Answer.
And nobody knows because they don't
So
tell them.
has
No one
Donald
says
Trump
anything.
peaked? Dennis Prager thinks it's
They
possible.
never know.
Donald Trump has
No one
30%
ever
of the vote. That means he
ever
doesn't
gets
have
told.
70% of the vote in this Republican primary. But it's hard to imagine almost anybody who's not pro-Trump becoming pro-Trump. So he has, I believe, peaked. Now he's peaked at a high peak. But
Down?
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at noon, right before Michael Medved at 3 on AM 1250. The Answer.
We gave Tom 12 seconds to give 6 reasons why he opened a Mathnasium Learning Center franchise.
Okay. Great income potential. Doing good for kids. Doing what I love. Making math make sense to kids. 500 centers open already. One every 3 days. Mathnasium taught me the business. Helps me. Supports me.
Time's up. Pretty good. For franchise information, visit mathnasium.com or take the first step right now. Call 855-361-MATH. That's 855-361-6284.
Stuck in traffic?
How many do you have in your bag? Oh. What kind is it?
366 at 380. Watch out for blockage there due to a very severe crash. Taking
Oh, I'm glad we came right in talking about cologne. No, I'm just I actually don't mind.
Outbound fence is starting to collect some volume. Parkway West, a ton of traffic there. From Lakeville run to Settlers Cabin, and again, Ross and Farms down toward the Fort Pitt Tunnel. Tons of traffic too on that outbound side from Parkway Center out toward Braintree and Carnegie. I'm Lynn Bradley on AM 1250. The Answer.
What did you smell like?
AM 1250. The Answer. Weather.
Remaining breezy this evening. Will be cloudy and cooler tonight.
I
Going
can-
down
I
to
can
a
hear
low of
myself.
50 degrees for tomorrow. Turning out breezy
I
once
sound
again under a mostly cloudy sky, high 65.
This mic
Will stay
is
considerably cloudy and cool for tomorrow night, dropping down to a low of 48 degrees. And for Friday, still plenty of clouds, breezy and remaining cool with a high of 59. I'm meteorologist Danielle Niddle on AM 1250. The Answer.
This is the Michael Medved Show. AM 1250. The Answer.
And now, America's #1 show on pop culture and politics. This is the Michael Medved Show.
And another great day in this greatest nation on God's green earth. A great day to confront a great but very controversial truth, which is women are sexist.
Ian just got his podcast voice.
Not sexist
His radio
uniquely,
voice?
but sexist
drops
as
about an octave.
men are. You don't believe it?
I think it sounds
Well, then you just have to ask
I think I
Anne
No, I feel like
Marie
I'm trying to
Slaughter.
drop my
Anne Marie
voice.
Slaughter has written
I think I go up
best-selling book, which is
More
burning up
inquisitive.
the charts, as they say.
It is
called
a podcast
Unfinished
voice. It
Business.
used to be my
Women
second
stage voice, and then
family. She
I
also has a
just
fascinating
it wasn't interesting
excerpt from
for
that book.
anymore.
It is an
Wait, can I
article
hear
in
your stage
Time
voice?
magazine
This is also
under
it'd be
the
like
heading "Women
I
Are
don't know
Sexist
what
Too." And if you don't know the name Anne-Marie Slaughter,
I think we
Just
absolutely
kidding,
should.
literally one of the
Stray
most
dogs run in.
impressive biographies
It's quite
you're
nice.
likely
I'm
to
enjoying it.
read.
Cheers.
Both academically, where she has
In the
degrees
eyes.
from Princeton,
Always in the eyes.
Harvard, Oxford,
You have to.
a doctorate
It's a thing.
degree, law
When you
degree.
make a
She
toast,
has
you stand
served
and
in
you
the
hold your cup
Obama
at eye level.
I mean, I'm not standing right now.
And yet
No, only the person making the
Oh,
toast.
okay.
on
Well,
both
that's,
sides
yeah,
of the
that's
So
aisle.
you
She
stand
served
and you
in
hold
the
your cup at
State
eye level.
Department
But
and
these
the
are all
Policy
these are all
Planning
artificial
at
in the
rules.
State
eye.
Department.
You have to
And
do it in the
she
eye.
is now
I said
the
these are artificial
president and
rules.
CEO of the New America
There we go.
Foundation.
Also,
she was
the
formerly
tapping
a professor
before
of
you
politics
drink.
and
I mean,
international
what's
affairs
that?
at
There's
Princeton and dean
That's
of
just
its
a
Woodrow
celebratory
Wilson
cheers.
School.
Sorry. I just got real
Anne-Marie Slaughter,
That's just a
congratulations on your
happiness.
book, and thanks for
It's
joining
getting in
us.
there.
See, some people. That's the thing. Some people say it's for the dead, or some people say it's out of respect to the bartender. Absolutely true. These are things no one knows fully why, but I think that that's probably the best way to go about it, right? Like just
a cheers?
It's just a thing to do.
It's just a cheers.
It's a moment, or if it's tequila, it's like a second to be like, oh fuck.
The best thing to do
Yeah,
is
that's not
normally-
a cheers. That's a fuck you for buying me this shot. I hate you. Happy International Podcast Day,
everyone.
everyone
Hey.
across the world.
So I wanna. That's the air conditioning. Now we should have just kept the door open and the air conditioning off.
That was actually me taking off. You didn't. Across the world.
Oh, you stupid. Yo, she's stupid.
I was flying. What?
I'm with it.
That's the
No, I'm
sound
with it.
of
Listen,
our
I use the noise around me, guys.
podcasting going worldwide.
Worldwide, wide.
Everywhere. Across the globe.
So I obviously I want to give a shout out to the Swive. Now, what do you call your fan base? Is it Martafuckers? I was thinking of that on the way.
So messed up. They would not like to hear that. I don't know if they're appreciative of that, Martafuckers.
Well, I mean, it just seemed vocally like it's close to motherfuckers. It's like, yo, motherfuckers, what's up?
I picked up.
I got it. They're like Marta on the Movers.
So they're movers.
They're movers.
Movers, helping you move.
I think the guys from Does This Hold Up said it best when they were like, when I had them on the show for Bearstown, they were like, we don't even know what's going to happen. I think she's just going to have people move her shit. Like, she just moves around in different locations. I was cracking up so hard.
I watched Mitch Hedberg set from Canadian TV where he bombed. It was 7 minutes, and he bombed. Like,
Ouch.
he got one laugh on one joke near the end. The one about, it doesn't matter. The only reason I bring it up is one of his jokes is, and I'm going to try and do it without slipping into like a Mitch Hedberg voice, but he said, I helped my friend stay put this weekend. It was a lot easier than trying to help him move. All I had to do is sit around and just make sure he didn't go anywhere.
That's the worst joke ever.
That's a good joke.
I don't think that's a good. Really?
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg cadence makes everything instantly funnier. Let's try. Last weekend, I helped my friend stay put. It was a lot easier than helping him move. Maybe
Oh, it has the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot,
okay.
a lot
that's
to do.
that's a lot better.
It's a lot to do with timing and getting into that mind space of listening to someone talk like that for an extended period of time, and it starts to start to get it.
Plus, he could probably have a 2-hour show with that kind of cadence.
Well,
and
I
just
think-
like
I think
it's like
any,
half the words.
Any comedian would sound a lot funnier in Mitch Hedberg's voice. Everyone, every single
So how was everybody's weekend?
weekend.
Weekend.
Well, mine was interesting. I helped a friend stay put.
I actually
Nice.
moved into a new house, and I am not joking
see?
about that.
We did
So,
not even plan that. Cheers,
What a
everybody.
coinky-dink, right?
Yes. There you go.
Shout out to my friends that helped me move.
Right
if they're
on, guys.
watching.
Did you have pizza?
Wait, where'd you move?
I moved from the south side to Troy Hill.
Okay, cool.
Moving on up.
Are you stoked about it? You're right at Penn Brewery's in your backyard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's okay.
You gotta yell at
Penn
him.
Brewery's okay.
Well, plus
gotta-
you can walk
Troy
right
Hill's
over the
okay.
bridge.
I can walk over bridges are cool.
Which, by the way,
We like bridges.
We have
Yep.
a lot of them. Yeah.
We're a fan.
y'all should help yourselves too. I
w-
didn't even
yeah,
say
I
that
wanna
off
try
mic.
one of these. What do we got in this variety pack of beer?
Ciders and beer too, or one of everything. I guess it says 6. Oh no! It's 2 of 3 varieties. It's 2 each of 3 different varieties of cider, and then the same in beer.
It's
so it's
the
like,
Windridge Crafty Variety Pack.
It's adorable.
it's the taxidermy pack.
Well, I don't think they're dead.
I think they're dead. Yeah, they
So
all
you
have
think-
apples and some sort of.
You think that dog wearing a monocle? Someone just killed a Labrador
thought there was
and
something
put a
wrong with the
monocle on
dog's
its
eye.
face?
Yeah, I've seen
That's
Stranger
twisted.
Things. I know.
That's twisted.
Have you ever been to Trundlemander? Like,
Yeah.
Twisted.
Incidentally,
Twisted.
I have a show coming up at Trundle
Do you?
on October 24th.
oh, it's so much fun there.
Yeah.
They are. It is the coolest outing. I love it. I
nice.
did a cast with them last year, and it was like one of my very first ones, and I went there and was just blown away because I love that
It's a
stuff.
lot of fun.
It
No,
is
I
a good
love it.
time. You'll have a good
You been?
time.
I have not been there.
You will like it.
I would do. It is on my checklist of things to do.
Medical oddities.
I'm fully
Oh,
aware.
medical. So you know.
Yes.
You're in the know.
Yes. I believe they had a display at one of the zombie fests.
Yeah.
That I had seen.
Zombie Fest coming up.
It is.
Check it, check it,
Right
check
around
it,
the
check it,
corner.
check it, check it, check it, check it,
Isn't there
check it, check it.
2 weekends in a row? There's like a Living Dead weekend, then there's the Zombie Fest weekend.
I'm
I
not
think they're
aware
back
of
to
the
back.
Living Dead weekend. I'm sure
think-
people are posting right now. Post about it, guys. Let us know because we don't know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Please let us know. Yeah, I did. I'm doing all things spooky up to Halloween on my podcast. So I just did House of the Dead,
Okay.
and it was so much fun. Just to, I don't know, talk zombies.
I really
Love the movies.
Me and my friend Heather were talking about wanting to do a haunt cast where we would go to different haunts and haunted houses and then cast like right afterwards, almost like the way the movie review show is. I forget what it's called.
Oh yeah,
But do a similar thing, but with haunted houses. I
Just-
really, really love haunted houses a lot.
I love that stuff.
All the work that goes into
I look
it.
forward to this time of year when I can
I know.
just do spooky podcasts.
I like
Yes,
that sort
Ian.
of stuff. Oh. I like doing that kind of stuff.
Hey, we got
no,
Buzzy in the house.
What's up, Buzzy?
Hey, Buzz.
I got I tried to go on a ghost tour last week.
Where at?
Just it was supposed to be around the city, like part of the north side. Just
All right,
I
I'm
guess
trying one of these.
the stupid shitty thing is, I waited around for a while and then eventually just some guy showed up. He's like, I'm here to do the tour. I'm like, you're not a fucking ghost. I'm not going with you.
Wait, so where were you?
Just around the city.
Oh.
Various parts of
I'm
downtown.
running bits. I'm running
Oh,
bits.
are you really trying your bits on us?
No, no.
Don't, that's gross.
I'm not trying them out. That would mean that I intend on doing them some other time. No, this is just for you here and now.
Thank you. There is a walking ghost tour in Pittsburgh.
I know. I knew someone last year who hosted who did that.
I did a pajama party, basically a podcast where I invited all my friends to wear pajamas over my house, and then
Key party.
it was amazing.
Yeah, that's clutch.
Wait, what's a key? Oh, that's not even funny. There was no keys.
It is funny though.
There was
Your-
no big chill.
Your
Get it?
conception.
The big chill.
Yeah.
No.
Are you
Nobody-
running bits? Are you running bits on
I
us?
am.
Yeah,
I never
that's-
claimed to be
that's
funny.
gross. But your conception of what's funny, I want to. I'm because you're
Oh,
saying a
no.
lot of what's not funny. So what do you find funny?
I don't know. I know it when I see it. I don't know what I find funny.
Well, you have to have found
love
something
camp.
funny.
I love B horror flicks. Bringing
Okay.
it back. Halloween.
Okay. So like ironic, like shitty that shouldn't be funny, but is so bad that it's funny.
Oh, I love that shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people trying
That's
to be
my
funny
favorite.
is not.
Yeah.
No,
thing.
sometimes no. I love comedians. I think I just
So you find humor in other people's failure.
that's one way to put it.
Epic fail.
Epic fails.
But then it's hilarious when a joke goes poorly, right? Like when someone tells a joke and it goes poorly, then they fail, and you're like, yes.
Oh no,
amazing."
that's terrible. I feel bad. I get a lot of empathy for people. The awkwardness. I hate awkwardness.
Oh, okay.
I
So
hate the awkwardness.
I wanted to ask you about American Idol auditions.
No, I can't do that shit.
It makes you feel weird.
I
gives
don't
you
have
that-
cable anyway. It just makes me feel
Is
awkward.
American Idol on cable?
Yeah, isn't it?
Regular
I mean-
TV's not a thing anymore.
Wait,
right?
are you?
I don't watch
know.
TV.
I don't watch TV. I don't have cable.
I just had a great idea. We should just do a show that's American Idol horror story. Just combine the
this,
two.
How would
I
this
think
go?
that's- I think
Next
that's already
season.
what the show is. You just have to change the name.
I love the fact that nobody knows who we are, that we're podcasting right now. We just slithered in. We were like, hey guys. We slunk in.
Slunk.
Is that a word?
Yeah, absolutely.
Slunk
Did
word?
you just defer to me?
Slunk.
Slunk.
Keep saying
Slunk.
It's going to be my only contribution.
Who's
to
this guy?
Who's
You
this
and
kid? He just sat down.
Suave
He's got his
vocab.
phone.
Oh.
He looks a little stressed.
Should we do quick introductions?
Yeah, we should do it
should.
a quick because I have no idea. I'm like, who's this guy? Who are you? No, I know.
Well,
all these people,
I mean,
but they don't know us.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Humpty.
Do the hum.
Pronounced with an umpty. Good night.
We'll see you guys later.
All right.
Your turn.
Oh, I'm not. I can't even follow that up. No, I'm just gonna. I'm Marta. That's it. That's all I
Pronounced
got.
with an umpty.
Pronounced with an umpty. Doesn't rhyme with anything. Well, yeah, it does, but it's okay.
It rhymes with a few things.
Yeah, I know it does. It's terrible. Brian.
I'm Brian.
He's Brian. So we got Brian, we got Ian, we got Buzzy sitting in.
Buzzy, what's up, man? Nice to have you.
Yeah. it's
Hello.
great to have
One
you.
of the lost.
I cannot wait to go in the other room.
No, you have to sit with us. You're stuck. So
Yeah.
we have podcasts. I have a podcast called Marta on the Move. Sykes,
I have Start the Beat with Sykes.
Start the Beat with Sykes, and Ian.
Let's start the motherfucking beat.
Motherfucking
Yeah,
beat.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
We just can't put that on iTunes.
And Ian
Yeah.
has a podcast called
Ian Insect
Ian
is
Insect
evil.
Is evil. And Buzzy is like the puppet master of all of us.
I had a thought.
He's
and
the Baron.
I'll break this
the
news now
man.
because once I, get to the point where I don't have to have a day job and I'm like, a media mogul
Never
magnate.
gonna happen.
It is.
No.
Absolutely is. I'm a hustler. I was gonna call I this summer because you saw how much I sweat. I was gonna call my sweat. People are like, what? I was gonna call it hustle juice. I think that's just gross, though, isn't it? I shouldn't call my sweat hustle juice.
I think you
I
should.
actually think you should. Yeah. Now
All right.
I find that funny.
Excellent. Okay.
This whole cast is going to be what I find funny. I just want you to. I'm just going to inform you.
Well, I'm going to start a second podcast on the Epicast Network 2 years down the line, 2017. Look out for this one.
Oh.
And it's going to be called Let's Talk About Something Else.
Oh,
Because that should have been the title of my podcast that I have now. Because it's just people getting back into a corner, being like uncomfortable until they want to talk about something else. And so the title should be Let's Talk About Something Else.
How are you going to get guests on your show?
I think that there are a lot more masochistic people
yeah.
in this world
Oh,
than
yeah.
I
you
would
think.
sign up for
Alright.
it. Or first guest, me.
Oh, you got 2017. You should
Yeah.
just make it
Let's hope I'm still alive.
this day,
Pre-development.
right?
I'll record it.
International Podcast Day in 2 years.
In 2 years.
You
Well,
can
I'll
meet back
record them
here.
all, and then I'll start releasing. I'll release them all on one day. Leading up to it, I'll just record about 20 episodes and release them all. International Podcast Day 2017. Uh-oh. Things are getting wound up.
Why?
Wound up.
Turn.
You know, I don't know why I thought of
Suave.
this, but a fun idea, little podcast
You've
project.
you're like, why did I think of a fun idea?
Particularly me, would be to talk with somebody for a half hour about, what's going on in their life now, and then interview them again, like 1 or 2 years later, and then compare, contrast, like let them listen to that conversation before they do it,
Oh,
and then
man.
talk to them afterwards and see how that goes.
Almost like director's commentary on their own life.
That could either be really good or really bad.
No, or really good because it's really bad.
Or really
I bet
good
you would
'cause it's
find
really
it funny.
bad. I don't think I would. I would feel bad. I would be like, oh man.
I ended up getting addicted to heroin and quit my job.
That's what I think. That's terrible.
Well, at least you still have schedule management, made it here on time for the interview, right?
Yeah, my time management it's pretty
How
pretty
is
on
that?
point.
This
I like
is
this.
a
I don't know
very
what this is.
particularly interesting tasting beer.
There's a crow on my bottle.
I'm
Because it has
drinking
stupid animals
the
on it.
Windridge Barn
Hey,
It does
Dog.
have
I
stupid
got it
animals
cause
on it.
there was animals.
It's a
What did you-
chocolate
on it.
vanilla
Was-
imperial porter.
Well, they're stupid because
Wait.
one has an apple on its head.
It almost sounds
Obviously
like a
not
Starbucks
making a good
drink.
choice.
I would like to know everybody's Halloween plans.
None.
Come on.
I am doing back-to-back shows Halloween weekend at the Maker Theater as part of the Burlesque and Bondage shows.
Wait, talk.
Suave,
What?
wrap up.
Suave wrap up. Suave wrap it up.
Wait, talk about this again. The burlesque and bondage shows. Sykes, you're like, yeah, I know what they are. You
No,
don't know
I
what they
want to
are.
know what they are. I don't know.
Yo, first off,
Yeah.
sir, you stupid. You stupid. Second,
Talk to us about this.
I met a fella at Pittsburgh Fringe Festival earlier this year. It's in its second year. Oh, I'm unwrapping.
Shout out to Dan Stryker.
He was at the
I know
Fringe?
that guy.
He helps run it.
Oh,
He
decent.
does Stage 62 stuff. Sometimes. Never
Shout
mind.
out to Cheryl Capizzuti. Shout out to Jen Schott. Shout out to Joanna Lowe. Shout out to
Your mother. I thought
who's
that-
mine
I
in
thought
particular?
that was funny. It was my mother.
Okay,
Franny G.
there you go. So one guy, Michael McGovern, who features on an episode of Ian Insect is Evil, released today. No.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're just
All
we're,
right.
we're, we're
waiting.
stewing we're stewing in the
You're-
promo.
You have us in,
Feed us, Mama
bated
Bird.
breath here. It's coming out very slowly.
I'll tell you what, you might be an apprentice of bated breath, but this guy's the master over here. It's a masturbation joke. I don't know. Come in your mouth joke is where I'm headed with that.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the worst story ever.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Hey, listen. Just because you're on the move doesn't mean you have to move there fast.
Constantly moving.
Yeah. Sometimes it's inward. Sometimes there's wheels turning.
Inward
you know?
singing? All right, let's hear it. Come on.
I'm not inward singing. That's not my bit.
This is killing me.
It's
All I
amazing.
wanted to know was about the burlesque and
Yeah, we were talking about
bondage
bondage
thing,
stuff.
and then you just kind of you're like a cock tease.
Isn't that what burlesque
That's
is?
exactly. See?
Yeah.
Couldn't even get it out.
So no, at the Fringe Festival, I met a guy, Michael McGovern, who goes around the city. He does stand-up horror. So we're back to the beginning. He does sort of like creepily tinged. It's very campy. Actually, it's really cute and charming. He is going to be doing that this upcoming Saturday at Modern Formations, and he got in touch with me like a week ago and says, "Hey, you want to be involved in these shows at the Maker? And it's a variety show. I will be playing the part of a
Ooh.
co-host."
Oh, okay.
I
was
won't-
really excited for.
No.
I had all kinds of ideas.
As far as I
You
understand,
did too. Yeah. We thought you were going to be playing the part
Do I-
because there was a pause of the dominatrix, or
I was wondering whether I got to hold the whip or whether I was being whipped.
No.
you would
You
hold
could-
the whip.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the next phase,
At least for the beginning of the show.
The next phase of my like stage outfits, like a year or two down the line, when I start to get older and have to like give up sort of the glammy look, I'm going to leather. I'm moving into leather after that. I decided this.
know.
I
You're-
decided this
you're
years
s-
ago.
It's a re-
Your
it's a
sweating
reverse
is
Motley
not going to
Crue.
be. It's not going to be
It's a
good.
reverse Motley Crue.
Well, what it is a dead ripoff of Rob Halford. You know, so it's a reverse Judas Priest.
Okay.
Also, that's my.
That sounds like a bondage move.
That's my
Yeah, it
folk
does.
duo's name.
We're
Reverse
all
reverse.
sick.
Judas
So
Priest.
what are they?
RJD.
What are they doing at this show?
There are several acts. We have a circus sideshow act called Stranger Dangerous, and they are going to do everything from fire breathing, fire eating, to suspension,
fun.
paint art, glass eating, all that kind of great stuff. We're sort of still scouting some talent. I think Brian Vamp is going to be there. He is probably, I would say Pittsburgh's premier dark wave artist. Dark wave like music, music style, dark wave's like Depeche Mode,
Okay.
Joy Division. And there's not a lot of people who do it because obviously it's like outdated, not popular. 808 and
love
808s
Depeche
and
Mode.
Heartbreak is pretty. That's the closest we've gotten to dark
Well, that's
wave.
pretty cool. Is that on Halloween? What were the dates?
30th and 31st. There's an 8 p.m. and a 10 p.m. show. The 8 p.m. show is totally different from the 10 p.m. show in that it is gonna be lame. No, come to that 10 p.m. show. That's when it pops off for sure.
Are you not on the 8 p.m.
I'm on all
show?
four.
Oh, okay. Like it's lame.
No. I could have gone the self-deprecating route. I had to hold back on it. No, so there are basically two or three different people scouting talent for it right now. So Casey Deely, who owns the Maker Theater, who she's bringing on, I'm not sure yet. She's sort of in charge of the burlesque part of it, bringing in the dancers
that's
and
fun.
stuff. Michael is sort of in charge of putting together a script, bringing in other people, and he asked me for support with finding other performers. So
Oh, fun. That sounds awesome.
that's gonna be a
That
blast.
sounds great.
I think you just
So
told me what I was doing on
what's-
Halloween.
What's your costume going to be? I mean, that's more important here.
Tax attorney.
Bringing it back. And you're going to be a tax attorney?
Yeah.
Are you going to have like a pencil behind your ear and wear a suit?
And maybe half a pair of glasses.
Half? Like a monocle?
I'm a really poor. Yes. This guy attacked. I'm gonna dress like this guy, whatever this guy's.
You want to dress like the dog on the bear box.
I haven't done costumes on Halloween for a long time.
What?
I love Halloween.
That's not
I'm not
fun.
anti-Halloween, but think about this and think about me. The thing about me is that every day almost is Halloween for me. I go to mics, just even not shows, not even paid shows, just mics, and I'm still doing like full makeup, worrying about what I'm gonna wear. I pack extra outfits and stuff like that. So
you're taking off Halloween.
it's pretty much like that, yeah. I'd
You're
say.
staying home in jammies. You're like, hey. Putting in Sleepless in Seattle. You're like, I need a break.
Do you guys ever pass out candy? Have you ever
Oh, yeah.
just sat at home and passed
Dude,
out candy?
I live in
That's
one of the
fun, yeah.
greatest places to pass out candy.
Where?
My street, I live in Crafton.
Okay.
Shout out to Crafton. Crafton Power. Bring more business. Bring more business to Crafton. Sorry. Open a brewery. Sorry.
Craft
I get
on.
really excited about it. But we
You're not going
have
anywhere.
Hawthorne Halloween. Like, if you have kids, we probably get like 500 kids.
Wow.
And it's a parade of just the funniest thing ever. We just hand out candy. All the neighbors come out. We open beers and just like
Now just
there's music. Our street across the house, like across the way, has a black light. He's blaring music. He's got a fog machine. It gets serious.
Is it a thing that you can't trick or treat at night anymore?
Why? What do you? Well, it's
In
usually
some
like
neighborhoods?
6 to 8, and then it trickles over.
What is that? I feel like when I was
I know.
a little turd,
agreed.
we'd start at like 9.
Yeah, I felt like it was later, but the kids are they range in age. They're like everywhere from 1, like an infant. They
30.
bring out, like to seriously 30. We get the people that go away, change their mask, come back. They're like 12 feet tall. I'm like, I know you. I'm not even giving you a huggy.
And she
Actually,
didn't
that's
even
right.
think it was funny.
I'll give you a
either.
huggy.
She didn't even think it was funny.
No, I totally give it. I trick or treated until I don't even remember.
Obama masks.
I was in
Funny?
college. I could get away with it. I love trick or treating.
This is the last year you can buy an Obama mask.
What? Really?
I think there'll
Yeah.
be surplus on sale.
eBay.
It's the last year. You
Let me
can-
rephrase.
the year's
This
still-
is the last year you can buy an Obama mask at full
Exactly.
retail price.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Buzzy, what are you being for Halloween?
I have no clue.
Oh, he's
No idea.
Buzzy's being not stressed for Halloween.
Nah, probably
The
we'll have
most-
10 things to come out that day.
Brian?
I don't know. I have
Nobody?
a few ideas. I know what I want to do. I think that on days like Halloween, I prefer to not make any set plans. That way I could just go with the flow and go from place to place.
I can't do that.
Well, I was
Nor-
thinking
I'm-
of that. Go on.
I'm normally a pretty meticulous
Scheduled.
person with my schedule. But every once in a while, on a day like that, I find that it's a lot better
You
to
move
just
freely.
let it go.
I was thinking of that earlier because sort of the conversation we had about trying to put this together, like with like my podcast and like I say, I mean like the stage act, everything is meticulous and controlled. Like I have convinced myself I need to have control, but on the times that I just let go, I'm just like, this is amazing.
Oh,
This
that's
just
the
feels it's just like so. How I totally agree with you. Like, man, just sit out in that fall weather. I sat out as an adult. I've given out candy once in my neighborhood. I lived in Regent Square. I lived on East End Avenue. Shout out Regent Square.
My
And
grandma lived on East End.
yeah,
Shout outs to Grams.
Hey,
Grammy
Grandma.
Sykes.
Yes.
She's listening.
I'm with it. She's Suave official. She is.
But anyways, yes. East
Yes.
End Avenue.
You sat on the porch.
That's where I
You gave out
trick-or-treated as a
candy.
kid.
You
Yeah.
bartered for
Yeah,
Reese's
in
cups
Regent
like everybody
Square.
else did.
In a
I
weird
bartered.
alternate dimension, you may have given me candy.
I like the
Ooh.
quantum
I
speculation.
don't think
there.
so, guys. How old are you?
Just
Is this personal?
I'm with it. No, I'm on that
Too
page.
personal?
I'm with it.
We're celebrating. I'm just putting a shout out because it's my birthday next week. We're celebrating many birthdays this week.
Yeah, my birthday's this month.
Yo,
Are you
23rd.
Libra? You Libra?
No, I'm a Scorpio right at the beginning.
Psh, cuss motherfucker, 25th. 25th.
25th.
I'm with it.
I'm the 8th, October 8th. I'm a Libra baby. Nick Miller.
Yo, shout out to Nick.
It's JT's birthday
yesterday.
today, I think.
Okay.
Right? I'm almost positive it's his birthday today, I think. But
Justin Timberlake's birthday.
yeah, it's Justin Timberlake's birthday.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber's birthday.
Aw. Oh.
Bieber's not that bad.
I have to
Really?
agree. I have to say I agree in the sense that, like, we were just talking about this maybe yesterday. Gosh, how did that even come up? Just his image. He's been doing a lot of image maintenance. Okay, it came up because his song came on the radio. It was me and Garrett. Oh, your boy Garrett Teitelbaum. That's he. Anyway, friend of mine.
Shout out to Garrett.
Shout out to Garrett. Garrett, if you're listening.
I'm like, is he in the other room?
He's
Hi,
not
Garrett.
listening. We were just talking last night, and the new Bieber single came out on the radio, and came up on the radio, and we were just talking about he's done a lot of like positive image management. He's trying.
could
He's
care
been trying
less.
really. But
I don't know.
But
I got
mean,
nothing. I have
Listen,
nothing. And
I don't.
And I'm a girl. I got nothing.
I don't care about.
But I'm
his
just trying to
music.
say nice, positive things.
Oh, yeah, no,
about the world in general, putting out those good vibes.
I'm putting out, you know what? I'm trying to put out good vibes. Today was like a shitty fucking day.
I'm trying to put out good vibes. Fuck everything.
You said that several times
It was
since
just
I've
a
been
shitty
in
day.
your presence.
No, it was just a shitty day. So yeah, I'm making an effort to be more positive starting tomorrow.
Okay.
See, sometimes.
Not right now. Start
Sometimes that little breath, that little stoppage, that was timing. That was excellent timing. Starting
tomorrow.
tomorrow. This is-
I'm serious. I'm gonna start tomorrow. I'm gonna put
How
out
are you gonna
positive
start?
vibes.
we always start the next.
I don't
day.
know. I might start my day with an espresso and then see where that goes, and just kind of try and smile more.
Espresso goes in here.
I know.
Espresso
And then
goes
I'll
in
be
your mouth.
smiling more than not. I smile all the
I want
time. I
coffee.
can't help it.
There's,
I want coffee.
This is,
There's an imperial
there's-
porter in there. That's the closest thing
that's
you're
what
gonna
I'm
get right
drinking
now.
It-
Oh, really? It's
Yeah.
not
It's
helping.
not
Makes
bad
you want
at all.
coffee more.
I bet it's pretty good.
It's not bad.
We need to
It's
make
pretty
a
good.
call to
Nah.
Black Forge. If you're
Can't.
listening, can you deliver us
We need some of
We
that
need-
goddamn.
Oh
some
no.
cold brew? Yeah, it's got a
That-
jar of cold brew.
No, you got to do the drink with the ginger in it and the
Nah,
espresso.
it's too complicated.
That shit was so good.
Yeah. Shout out to Black Forge, just around the corner. They are blowing up right now.
What's everybody's? I posted on Twitter. I really hope people respond. I wanted to hear like different podcasts from around the world on International Podcast Day. If
Oh, that
you're
makes
out there,
sense.
guys, like post your podcast. I kind of want to
And
know
girls.
whatever, but and girls, just post your podcast in the comments. I kind of want to see who's out
And
there.
anyone who
everywhere.
identifies as genderqueer, please also submit your podcast.
We're including you also. Yeah,
Oh, well,
guys,
so
girls.
beneficent of us.
I know. We're so nice. It's all the positivity. I thought that was starting tomorrow.
What's your favorite podcast? Everybody.
Nerdist. I know. It's what got me into podcasts.
I mean, probably WTF. Same, like surface level, where I started. You know.
Yeah. Dinner Party Download,
actually-
too. I like that one.
No, to be honest, more recently I've started listening to. There's a podcast called The Completely Unnecessary Podcast, and it's all like video games, pop culture stuff. And I listen to that way more than I listen to WTF now, actually. So that's my favorite.
What about you?
That sounds like a good one. I'll have to look that up. You'll have
It
to
is
send that
good.
to me.
I don't
I
know.
love
I've been
games.
listening to Bill Burr a lot, Monday Morning Podcast. I've been listening to Startup, actually, which is about a startup creating a podcast company.
Oh.
So it's very
That
meta.
seems relevant.
That's
Yeah,
actually,
it's
yeah.
really- yeah.
I don't know if
So whereas they
we would like it, but I know why you like it.
the guy used to be an editor for This American Life on NPR, so he knows his shit.
Right.
And he left to start his own company, and immediately is shopping for money. And what I did is left and just started building a network instead of asking for money. So now it's time to like.
You're doing
swap
the other way
places.
around?
Yeah. I have everything built now. So how do we get paid?
That feels like
Mofo get paid.
me as a musician.
Yeah.
Whereas I
I
spent,
don't know if that's a good
You're
or
a
bad
musician?
choice.
Dude, it's rough.
I spent
Hey.
a decade, crafting my thing that I do, and now I'm trying to figure out how to make money doing it. And it's like I don't have another decade
to try
learn
and
the
figure it
business,
out.
So
I
trying
don't
to-
know any of that stuff. It's just complicated. Plus, it's awkward. Nobody wants to do it.
And it's weird. I feel like you have to. I think
I'm gonna make us up a song right now.
you have to dedicate time.
Knowledge in the house.
What's
Knowledge
going on,
in
man?
the house.
Playing the part of Buzzy for the remainder of the cast.
Peace, everyone.
Yeah, I can come hang out.
Sorry.
Hang out.
I gave you a theme song. You got a walk-in theme song.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
all good. I mean, it's
So,
cool to have a theme song.
What are some of your favorite podcasts, man? What are you listening to right now?
The Juice Crew 412.
Guys, we are all stupid. All of us are stupid.
What happened? Are we get to drink now because I said my own podcast name?
Oh, that's back to our thing. That was our
That
thing.
was our thing.
What was that? We're having a drinking.
Yeah, it was a
drinking game.
it was a hashtag. Well, if you said your own podcast, Marta on the Move, you had to drink.
Oh.
So every time you said it, and it just became.
So I can
There's
have one.
wine.
Anything you want.
I had no beer, so I brought wine.
Buzzy's gonna kick my butt because I drank his last bar in my Pittsburghese accent.
Uh-oh.
My bar.
His bill.
I can't even see his
What is
face right
this?
now to confirm this. Oh yeah, he's a little mad.
These are all ciders.
He's
bro.
a little swole.
No.
Yeah,
that
they're all
is
ciders.
that is
Mhm.
a
No,
cider.
they're not all cider.
There's
It's-
definitely a
There's
beer.
six
in
and
there.
six.
It's a variety
That's a
pack.
beer.
Anybody drink a cider yet?
No.
No.
Well, how many people have drank a beer? Have 4 beers been opened? Let's do the math on that.
I had 2 already.
I
Okay.
never
Shouts out
never
to, shouts out
said
to
that I was
Epicast
good at
for making
math.
all this cool shit happen.
Oh,
That's
hell
an
yeah.
I
IPA.
think everybody avoided the cider.
That's the one I want.
Everybody
Is that
avoided the
gone?
cider.
Are both of those gone?
You can have some of that actually. If you grab a cup, I'll let
So
you
as
have
far as
some.
which podcasts I've been listening to, I haven't really been listening to a whole bunch recently. Some of the Buzzy I've been catching up on the Startup podcast, and I also like this podcast called The Read. I don't know if you guys know The Read.
The Read?
R-E-A-D?
REED?
R-E-A-D.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's Kid Fury, I think
I was
the guy's
thinking
name,
like a
and
whoosh.
Crystal. They're like comedians. Well, they're just funny. Maybe they're not comedians, but they're in Atlanta, and they're just talking shit. It's just hilarious. Like a whole bunch of shit talk. I think they're both either homosexual or bisexual, which doesn't really matter. But if you listen to it, you could just understand why I'm saying that. 'cause
What
it's
are
just, like,
some of the
mad
things
funny.
they shit talk on?
Current events, Kim Kardashian, this
Marta.
bitch, that bitch.
Oh, that.
I mean,
those
not
fuckers.
necessarily like bitch
God
meaning
damn it.
female, just
Damn you,
anyone in
Reed.
that sense.
Yeah.
But
What did I
no,
do to you?
I mean, so when you read someone, it's really when you talk shit on them, or you go on a rant.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, I don't know if it came. I don't know which community it came from.
Really?
I want to say it came from the LGBTQ, but I could be wrong.
This is the
Or it
first
may just been
time.
like gay men,
Sure.
Okay.
or gay black men.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, that's where I heard it
No,
first. Like
we-
sipping the tea. You ever heard of that? Sipping the tea.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it's all
Sip-
that same.
Sipping tea, throwing shade.
Yeah.
I know.
sipping
All
tea,
right,
throwing shade.
I never heard those together
It's all the
as
same.
a sentence.
Yeah. So when you
My
read
roommate
someone, you
watches-
talk trash on.
My roommate watches Drag Race
Okay.
on just a constant loop.
Sipping tea.
Oh, yeah.
How does
And I
that
think that's where it
translate?
came from.
Yeah. It can't. Listen, I can't.
Well, it disseminated
of-
via
yeah.
that conduit
Yes.
of
Sipping tea.
intellectual assimilation.
Yeah, that's right. And it was created. This verbiage was created as a colloquialism to
I just feel
highlight.
at some point we're not going to be able to say anything. Everybody's just going to use their minds because everybody's going to take it the wrong way. Although in the vein of positive, one of my favorite things that I heard was eyebrows on fleek. Me and my husband say that all the time now.
Yeah, it's a
In
little.
regards to
that's
anything?
a little. That's a little. That's sort of been faded out though.
Yeah,
Come on.
that one was like a shooting
just-
star.
What do
Yeah, that
you
happened-
mean?
that-
It
that
just
happened, but
You know what happened on Fleek is it hit so hard,
It
so
did go so
quick,
hard. Yeah,
it
it did.
fizzled. People were like, "This one's too." That's
yeah,
like
ass on fleek, eyebrows on. That also a thing came from the LGBTQ community. I think it also came from the sipping tea, throwing shade. That whole.
that on Fleek. Because on
What
Fleek,
the
it was
hell?
like oh, it's a
I
thing
just
now. It's
caught
not
up.
a thing because
Yeah.
it was like.
I'm late. I still pay Atari.
Listen.
Like I don't even know.
Listen, that's why you got to create. You got to create your own lingo. Don't rely on other
What
people
I
to do
do-
it.
right.
Is
Content
Suave, speak
creators.
up. Suave,
Anytime-
speak
I
up.
just mispronounce shit and then pretend it's something.
You mean like the heel?
Yeah.
Any-
Like the
Anytime-
heel district?
I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's a thing.
That's Pittsburghese. Hit
What the
the
hell?
heel. Instead of the
Anytime
hill.
I hear like a new buzzword, I automatically assume it's outdated because I finally heard it.
Well, that's
Move on.
actually a great way to think about that. Oh man, that means like all
'Cause I
of
feel
the
like
buzzwords
by the
are
time it gets to my
outdated.
ears, it's like I'm way at the end of the chain here because I'm so disconnected from.
But that's what I'm
That stuff.
saying. That's what I'm saying is create
That's a good
your own.
point.
Get on it on your
Yeah.
own.
I'm
Be
doing
the
it all the
catalyst of
time.
change.
I'm just saying.
Create content
Yeah.
constantly.
Toenails.
CCC. Create content constantly.
Yeah.
Right?
Boom.
Now when knowledge and passage we're just gonna be like CCC baby, you know it.
You already know it. Boom.
Right?
Mic drop.
And people are gonna be like, what are they talking about?
It's already gone. Poof.
Sally's seen seashells on the seashore. What?
Is it really that? Sally sings seashells on a seashore?
I don't know what the hell it is.
I thought it was.
Marta, you gullible.
I know I am.
Marta,
I'm
where have you
terrible.
been?
I mean,
What's up?
hi.
You're traveling, right? What's up?
Hi. I am traveling. I just got back from California. It was incredible. The weather looked like something out of a goddamn fairy cartoon, like Cinderella. It was
I thought you
perfect.
said a ferret cartoon.
That's just lingo. It's just throwing down. See? That's no. It's and then I came
Throwing
back
down?
and it's raining. Yeah, that's the thing. Oh man,
Throwing down.
never gonna live this down.
Throwing down.
Dan. No.
Downtown.
Throwing down.
That's something I've been checking out. Speak Freely.
Throwing down.
Have you guys been to Kit Muller's Speak Freely
I
events?
have not.
Yeah, they're really,
That's
really
the dude
nice.
right there. Shout out to
yeah.
Kit.
They're
Ew.
very innovative conversations that he has with change agents and people who've done
Oh,
like
that's
big
fun.
stuff. And it's long form podcasts, usually live at the Kelly Strayhorn. I think the next one's October 26th, I think, something like that. Somewhere in
Good
October.
bump. Very
a great
That
theater.
was slide right in.
Yeah.
It's good theater.
Yeah, it is. It is.
love that.
Shout out to the KST.
The Kelly Strayhorn Theater was.
Shout out to Gene Kelly
And to Billy Strayhorn.
and
Yeah.
Billy Strayhorn.
Take the motherfucking A train.
Take the motherfucking A train.
Eyes.
eyes.
The Kelly Strayhorn Theater is involved in my life only in so much that it is directly related to to a breakup I had with the only person I've dated since moving back to the city. 'Cause
Oh,
we had
are you
tickets-
single?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this. I don't
All
know.
the ladies, check it
Perpetually.
out.
No, I'm just
this
curious.
cool
I was
guy on the
just
mic
curious.
next to me, he happens to be single. You know
Ian
what I mean?
Insect is single.
We all knew that.
Hey.
Ian Insect's
We
gonna
all knew
stay
that.
single.
Oh, he's just.
Doing my thing. I got
That's the evil.
I got no time. I got no time for no one,
Flips
but
the
nothing but
coin.
love for everyone.
I like that.
So
Oh,
okay.
All right. I like that.
Cheers, and he'll
I was
drink to that.
curious. He will drink to that. That's interesting.
I'll
I had
just
no
keep
idea.
drinking to everything.
That's a novel concept. Drink to everything.
Brian, are
Drink
you
to-
single?
Yeah.
Hey, ladies.
Hey guys.
Ladies.
Hey
Get
ladies.
funky.
Well, let you know
Hey
here.
ladies, this is Marta from Marta on the Move. I got two men here. They will rock your world.
There
Brian Sykes, Ian Insect.
you go.
Ignore the last
I
name.
think.
Yeah, that's gonna help.
Sykes and
Yeah.
insects.
I'm just gonna go by your first name basis.
That's fine.
We're trying to catch ladies
Hi,
here.
my name's Humpty.
My name is Big like a pickle.
I ain't ashamed.
You guys are awesome.
Oh man.
So I presume you all already said the podcast you're doing. You all are a part of, or not a part of,
Not
but you're
really.
checking out.
We're like
What
the
about you?
saddest crew ever.
Yeah. So I've been starting to listen to some of your podcasts, but then it's like I listen to most podcasts in my car, and I'm on the bus now. So
Oh,
that's switched up
nice.
a bit.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Nicely done. I congratulate you on that.
Yeah, Pat Transit is just like. I mean, it's
It's
actually
rough,
just
but-
these transit apps. Maybe it's the transit apps.
It's
I don't know.
probably
I can't blame it on
and
the
it's the
bus. I blame it on
tunnels.
the apps.
You got the tunnels.
Well,
Got a lot of tunnels.
I would
Dead
say
stones.
this, and this is all obviously just a thought experiment, but I feel like I've taken the bus my whole life. I've been a lifelong public
Same.
transportation guy,
Sure.
and people complain about both there not being enough buses, but also buses being in the way when they're trying to drive. And I feel like both of those things could be solved if you just have a little faith, give up your car for a little bit at least, take the bus, because the more and more people that would take the bus would provide that funding, that fundage
yeah.
to enable Port Authority to grow, to
Build
branch
a
out.
subway
Yeah.
system.
And
Well,
honestly,
that project sort of crashed.
Which
yeah,
one?
I know.
Oh, the subway
The
system.
subway.
I travel a lot, and I've been to a lot of cities, and I've experienced a lot of public transit systems, and ours is really not that bad.
It's-
Ours is maybe a
compared to
B
a
minus.
lot
Wait,
of
you said
other
it's really not
places.
that bad?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know whose is really good, and I'm sure you've been to Chicago, but the MTA.
Oh yeah.
Chicago's
CTA.
is really good. Paris is really good.
Portland is actually very decent. That was the first time that I rode public transit outside of Pittsburgh, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. They had
They have a nice city
the True
mover.
Time app.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Not
10
the
years
city mover,
before
my fault.
Pittsburgh.
That's Detroit. I'm sorry.
What's up with
The City Mover is in Detroit.
City Mover?
But those little trains, those little trains downtown
like the
Detroit.
little short shot shuttles.
Yeah. Those are pretty
Toronto's
slick.
amazing.
Yeah, but we're naming all these huge cities.
I don't think we're that bad, honestly.
We're not.
Give
We're
it-
not.
Listen.
The infrastructure that we have as a city given the daunting task of trying to create a successful public transit operation in this city.
I want the
'Cause
streetcars
it's-
back.
It's so confusing.
The lines are there.
Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
That's fucking
Especially
bullshit.
Up here that they don't have
Well,
them running.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
And they run because if the tunnel's out of order, they run it through.
Yeah, they
Dude,
do.
the streetcars, the
outrageous.
lines are there. You know, it's just already there. Just do it.
But my only issue with people's attitudes towards transit is like if everyone paid and rode and everything and it got more funding, et cetera, and grew and built, and you could have more routes, you could have more frequent buses on those routes. Everyone's like, yeah, well, they'll never do it. They
You know what,
suck.
that's-
They're gonna use. Blah.
They
It's
need
like-
to connect the airport. I'm just saying.
That
What do you mean?
it's-
Airport needs connected. Like
To
airport
what?
needs a
Like a
T-line.
rail. Yeah.
They
Oh,
need
yeah,
a rail.
But
It's
I would
there's
agree
a
with
bus.
that.
There's a bus, right?
There's
There's a
28
bus,
bucks,
but
yeah.
it's like
It'll
you know,
cost-
our air they had it in the works, and then it just went kerplat. I forget
would-
what it was called. It was something with an M, mega something. I don't know, but it
I would
was.
I would agree to that, and then there could be some stops.
So you could
along the
stop
way.
in Robinson, you could stop in Carnegie, you could stop along the way.
Isn't
There's
that what
this-
the bus does?
There's this mindset with
I'm
people.
trying to make it flow.
That-
Oh.
Trying to make the T line.
Yeah, gotcha. It just costs so much. I mean,
Brian,
it's
what
a
you-
statewide problem, right?
Well, yeah, but they
there's
made
the
the-
cost thing too.
But
Would
they
you-
also built the
get there.
T line underneath which was
A little
so
much.
smart. No, it was. I mean, it was.
But that wasn't city. That was like private funding. You talking about the north side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was private funding. I think. That
Really?
was- yeah, I think that was like private money that was. I mean, maybe
Someone was like,
maybe
"I don't wanna
private isn't
walk,
the best way
man."
to describe it, but I just know that it didn't come from statewide fund. Yeah.
Oh
from my
wow.
knowledge.
Okay.
But what
I
are you
didn't know
trying? You're trying to throw out there a mindset.
To contrast with your saying that if more people rode the bus, it would help the bus get bigger. I was just thinking that's or help the bus system get better.
Yeah.
It's like that's the mindset in people because I'm thinking how that relates to being a local performer. And if more people would come out to shows, these shows would get bigger and we'd be able to do bigger things. But it's so hard just to get people to come
yeah.
out because it's like, well, I don't want to
It's
go.
everything.
I don't want to go to some show. There's only going to be 15 people hanging out. Like I don't want to be there. Well, it's like if everybody went, there would be 50 people there.
You just gotta. I
It's
mean,
everything. Yeah, small businesses.
Yeah.
If you bought from small businesses, they would have the funds to keep in business. It's
Until you just stopped, right?
until you just stop.
Right. So it's like if everyone took a break from their cars and rode buses, and then everything expanded, but it would only be until people went back to their cars.
yeah,
Yeah.
you would see this sort of like expansion and contraction. It would
Yeah.
just sort of crumble. But I genuinely do think that if you were to put faith in something like that it would grow
It would
and it would be
flourish.
I think it'd be a very
I like taking
organic
the bus.
thing.
I take the G2. G2.
What the heck's that?
G- I know,
That's
right?
a
That's how you
flyer.
know where I
G2.
live.
That's from Crafton.
That's from Crafton to downtown.
Yep.
Downtown.
On the,
Stops in Sheridan.
What busway
Ingram.
is that? That's not West Busway, is it?
I have
Yeah,
no
it is.
idea.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
ask
it
me
is.
these things, but yeah,
Now
straight
Is that-
straight downtown. It's like 15 minutes.
that's not
even.
that doesn't go to Moon. That's the G1. Is that the Moon?
I can't remember the one that goes to Moon.
They
That's
used
where
they
I grew up.
renamed them like
Moon.
while
There's a bus that goes to
I-
the moon.
I moved.
There
to,
is.
There is. I went to.
Did they find water there?
That
That's
was on
Mars.
This is Mars.
Damn
That
it,
was what,
Ryan.
2 days ago, right?
Wait,
Or yesterday.
I have to interrupt
Yesterday.
all of us because I think Buzzy's gonna go on at 6.
Where's he going on?
He's going on here.
Oh, we have to
Why
wrap
are we
up.
interrupting?
I know it went so fast.
Oh, we got
That's
like
what-
10 minutes. We're okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we.
Okay.
When he
5
storms in
Well, when he
here,
storms it, we're waiting for Buzzy to storm
we
it.
will
Okay.
wait for him. He
wanna-
will come claim
wanna
his
make
territory.
sure.
He will plant his flag like we did in the Moon.
In the moon.
So brought it
you
right back.
mean on
So-
the video or
Yeah.
the real life? thing?
the sound
So
stage.
knowledge. I got to ask the others, but what's your Halloween costume this year?
Will I am like I am every year.
What? You have the same Halloween costume every time?
Yeah,
every
I'll
year?
dress up as Will I am.
Every day of every year.
Every day.
every year. No, I don't celebrate Halloween, and I don't dress up for it either.
Whoa.
So I don't.
Throwing shade.
Yeah. You know what I
Iced
mean?
tea?
As I sit back and sip my tea, screw Halloween and
you know what? I
Thanksgiving
forgot
too.
the lingo. I'm
How
like,
about
iced
that? How about that?
What's up with that?
I mean, I'm just saying, why would I celebrate Halloween? What's it all for? What's Halloween represent? What am I hiding?
Fun.
Oh, give me a break.
But that's
Fun.
that's a good point. Why would you celebrate something you don't believe in just
Yeah.
because everyone else celebrates it? I think
Alright,
that's
fair.
a good larger point. Like celebrate
I'm not
the days
celebrate-
that mean
Right.
things to you.
Like Valentine's Day.
Like
no?
I don't celebrate.
Oh, Valentine's Day's stupid.
Like Thanksgiving and Christmas for me for the last 5 years have been awesome days to be alone and just like literally all alone because
Yeah.
like my roommates like I'm going to my family's, you want to come with? I'm like no, I get to sit alone. I don't know, fucking like watch TV with my kitties and just like reflect. And that's also why I'm single.
I was
No,
gonna
I
say.
do the same shit on holidays because I don't
Cat
have
lovers.
any immediate family in the city or anything like that. So last Thanksgiving, I just watched Netflix all day and made myself dinner.
See, I'm kind of opposite. Thanksgiving, I kind of hide from my family because I work with them and see them all the time. Sorry, I love you guys. I mean, I love you guys, but I just want to disappear.
You know what sucks is last Thanksgiving they still had BBC shows on Netflix. This year they don't.
Word?
I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, in
Yeah, I
the
didn't
last
notice
year
that.
they knocked them all off. Like
Oh, no way.
BBC
Oh, like the
is,
other side of the office. What was that? The other office?
Yeah, the U-
Yeah.
Office
No,
UK.
the BBC.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot- yeah.
that was on there. It isn't
Ricky
anymore.
Gervais.
I don't know what I'm gonna do this Thanksgiving.
No.
Mm,
I'm gonna have to buy some DVDs.
buy tofu
Oh.
turkey.
Explore
You're gonna have
the
to go
rerun.
to
I
Family
love
Video.
tofurkey. Oh my god, that tofurkey, that
I'm
that
still one of the
Thanksgiving meal
people
they
that
sell.
goes
That shit is
Family
so
Video.
good.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It lasts me like a whole week.
Me and my
So good.
my girlfriend, if I can still call her that, during this airing.
Why are you? Wait.
Whoa.
We're
live.
Okay.
We got. Are you single too?
No, I don't think so. But
I
you
mean,
know,
I'm
it's
sitting
just
with-
like with life. You know what I mean? You have
Yeah, it's not
issues. Next thing
pessimistic.
you're like, girl, I love you. Girl, get away from me.
How long you been going out?
Long time. 4 years.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah, you know, all my life.
You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you know?
for being
Wow.
123, you look.
Actually,
Amazing.
124. Let's get it together.
Oh,
Get
I'm
this
sorry.
back.
That's you.
Yeah.
It is a
Come on,
week
man.
of birthdays.
Come on out. Let's do
It is a week of birthdays. Wait, when's your birthday?
On the 8th of March.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say October, and I was about to be like,
We're running, Marta. Life is running bits. That's all life is. At least that's all suave life is.
Swab life.
So I like literally bought one of those tofu dinners and didn't eat it during Thanksgiving. I think we ate it in like November something. I mean, we ate it. Well, I think November's Thanksgiving. It was like the next month. That was good. Or I think we bought it around Christmas-esque or something, the December period.
Christmas-esque. I want to celebrate that holiday.
Christmas-esque.
How about
What goes
do
on
you
on that
celebrate
holiday?
Boxing Day?
There you go. There it is.
You know Boxing Day? It's Canadian Christmas.
I've never heard of this.
Well, maybe it's not Canadian Christmas, but it is like Canadian Christmas. This guy comes
Canadian
back with a whole
I
lot.
like
Ryan-
Christmas-esque. I
Ryan
want to know what
Noble.
happens on Christmas.
Ryan Noble.
Like, what do you do
Christmas-esque.
on Christmas?
It's like Hanukkah-like, Christmas,
Oh,
Christmas-esque.
All
so
in
it's
one day.
so it's a
Kwanzaa-ish,
mixture of
Kwanzaa-ish.
all of like.
No, Boxing Day is basically Christmas. It's called Boxing Day because you put things in boxes to make them gifts.
I think it's like the 26th or something.
I was
isn't it?
That's
thinking
exactly
like
right.
punching boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
we
what
got
I
the
thought.
buzz.
I thought he just said 5 minutes. Was that
So,
not 5 minute mark?
That was like 2 minutes.
You just you teased
So
us.
we're wrapping up for
Talk about
International
cocktease.
Podcast
Yeah.
Day.
Talk
Everybody
about
mention their
cocktease.
podcast, please. Shout them out from all
Talking
over.
about-
I am Marta on the Move, www.marta on the Move, Twitter at I Can't Find Marta. Boom.
My name is Knowledge Hudson. My podcast is 10 Minutes of Knowledge. It's found on Juice Crew 412 by searching on any platform,
On iTunes. That's on iTunes.
iTunes, etc. But Epicast.
Review and rate.
Please
Yes,
review
please.
and rate
Yeah.
all of our podcasts.
Epicastnetwork.com.
Please.
And then we have.
Oh, hey, do you wonder who's going to be coming up next on Ian Insect is Evil? Do you want to know? You want to know what we're going to be talking about? We are recording live podcasts October 3rd, this Saturday at Black Forge. In my own time, Marta. You say you're like a Kathy cartoon right now. You're like, ack.
And you're streaming live, by the way.
I know. Come on. Hi, guys.
We
Hi, come on.
So we're gonna have a slew of
I
great
can't
guests.
whisper.
We're gonna have a slew of great guests. Please come up to 1206 Arlington Avenue, Black Forge Coffee House. Ian Insect is Evil. We'll be recording live. So that is Evil live Evil.
But where do we find your podcast? Not where can we see it? How can people listen and tune in? If they want to hear
gives a
past
shit?
shows,
Yeah,
where
they
if
gotta
want to hear
listen
past
first.
shows, where can they find you at?
Go to Google, type in Ian Insect is Evil. I'm on the Epicast Network, just like everyone else. I am not yet a standalone. I'm not yet a standalone podcast. I do not have an iTunes presence. If you go to iTunes, search Epicast. If you go to epicastnetwork.com, yeah, I'm on the drag down list. And by the end of the year, I guess I'll have my website up. So that's a thing.
I have Start the Beat with Sykes. You can find me at.
Start the motherfucking beat.
But you can't. That's not how you don't type that in. To
You
find
stupid.
It, all right?
Yo, you stupid.
I don't know what you're gonna find if you type that in.
Probably something.
Police.
You'll find
a lot of
the
police.
real. You can find me at therealsykes.com, Twitter The Real Sykes, Instagram The Real Sykes, Facebook The Real Sykes, RedTube.com The Real Sykes.
Oh snap! That's a lot of spam right there.
That's where you'll find me. I'm there. I'm also part of the Epicast Network, and I'm on there and on iTunes.
Can I just shout out
There
that
was
you
a
can
bug in
find
my
me
face.
on at Knowledge Build on Twitter and at Classic24 on Twitter and at Juice Crew on Twitter.
You can do that
got a lot of
if
tweets.
I do.
You can do
Damn.
that if I can say you can find me everywhere as the Ian Insect. Because, I mean, come on, Swab, you know, it's your boy. The I to the A to the N, the INSECT. It is Ian Insect. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Instagram. Find me on Facebook.
Finding them at Black Forge on this
October 3rd.
Which is this Saturday, right?
It's Saturday. Yeah. And ladies, if any single ladies want to come down, I believe Brian will be stopping by around.
Find him on Tinder.
What time?
We'll figure
Single.
that out.
Figure that.
Nice. Signing off for International Podcast Day. Buzzy's up next.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Stopping the flow, is it?
No, I think the video's still on, but it'll just be us, like, with no audio.
Buzz.
You're like, that's like the worst idea ever. No. We do have a lost episode where Buzzy sat in.
Yeah, it will never come out.
It'll never come out.
Because I was really drunk.